Hey everyone, before we get into this video, we must first understand why begging is a social problem, how it degrades the society and creates other social issues. Beggary is a significant socio-economic problem found in India and many other underdeveloped countries of the world. It is a symptom of social disorganization. Many sociologists also regard them as a burden wedged on the shoulder of the society. It is associated with other social problems such as poverty, hunger, child abduction, and trafficking. A large number of beggars indicates non-utilization of human resources and drag about the existing resources. In India, begging is growing at an alarming rate. Begging has assumed a surprising proportion of the society. Beggars have accepted begging as profession and have changed its form in the modern period. And the issue of begging has become a huge one. Beggars have nothing to do but begging and lead a life of awful ethical corruption. Begging in India has become a big racket. There are begging cartels in the major cities of this nation. These cartels are managed by the gang leaders responsible for creating other socio-economic problems such as child abduction, trafficking, murder, and prostitution.
Hello, I'm Ama, and now we are going to talk about how begging started in India and what are the causes behind it. So, first of all, begging started due to religious faith of people believing that it is one way to please the Almighty, but now it has become a profession since no physical and mental efforts is required to earn one's bread. This problem can be explained by conflict theory, as it suggests that religion reinforces and promotes social inequality, and it helps to convince poor to accept their lot in life. Like, secondly, in our society, begging was non existent historically because then disabled and weak people, which ought to begging, were taken care of by their families and relatives. This trend has changed as families are now focusing more on meeting the needs of their immediate families first. In this sense, begging has increased as people have limited access to resources, and inflation has also caused the necessities to move out of their reach. So, this scenario can be explained by functionalism theory, which suggests that the family performs several essential functions for society, one of which is to provide emotional as well as practical support for its member. Sudden or far-reaching changes in the family structure, which is as families are changing to a more and more nuclear families, has weakened our society and has created problems such as beggary, which was non-existent in the Asian society, where all were all families were performing their essential function towards society. Third reason is the industrialization. The basic and dominating profession of agriculture has also been affected due to transformation of the economy, which is now more focused on industries, which in turn has increased inflation. In the wake of such scenario, begging is, and there is a considerable shift observed among the population of India, which is now migrating to urban areas. This industrialization is explained by conflict theory, according to which after industrial revolution, the more powerful industrialists dominated the whole economy of the country for their own profit and hence exploited the working class, forcing them into the viscous cycle of poverty, illiteracy, having to adopt to the methods such as beggary to earn their basic needs of life, that is food and shelter. So these are the main reasons behind the begging in India. Thank you.
Okay, so now we will see begging from different sociologist perspective. First of all, I should mention that study is in regards to that study done in Nigeria. Uh, Ogu in 2009 articulates the functionalist perspective on begging as a product of poverty. He argues that begging performs some identifiable functions seen need by the society. The existence of beggar helped the society to fulfill social, religious, and economic obligation. By giving alms to beggar, Most Nigerians perform religious obligation as major religions in Nigeria encourage the giving of alms to the poor and needy. Beggars are readily available in the meeting this religious responsibility. Begging provides employment opportunity for members of the society. Rather than seeing begging as a product of chronic poverty or physical handicap, some people take to begging as a profession, a means of earning livelihood. James, in 1995, draws on functionalist perspective to analyze the existence of poverty and maintains that the existence of the poor actually benefited various segments of the society. In James' view, poverty and the poor actually satisfy positive functions for many non-poor groups of the society. The presence of the poor means that society's dirty works, physically dirty or dangerous, dead-end and underpaid, undignified and menial jobs will be performed at low cost. The existence of poverty provides jobs opportunity for the occupations and professions that service the poor. Now, similarly, Marxist approach to the study of class is useful in stressing the importance of stratification as a determinant of social behavior, and as observed by Gertz and Millis in 1958, the existence of social problems like begging is a product of unequal access to life chances, that is, people's opportunities to provide themselves with material goods, positive living. By implication, the existence of beggars in Nigeria reflects inequality generated by capitalism. Below is presented the source for this information. Now we will see how begging is a deviance in the society. Begging is a social deviance, especially in Nigeria, because it negates the norms, expectation, and values of the society. For example, in Yoruba culture, hard work is highly valued. Therefore, begging in its absolute sense is not popular, and beggars are usually looked down upon as belonging to group of rich person in the society. So this is also the same source that I mentioned in the previous slide, and the same information has been taken from there.
Now let's have a look at the data of beggars in India. As per the data released by Union Ministry of Social Justice in March 2021, there are a total number of 4,13,670 beggars residing in India, including 2,21,673 males and 1,91,997 female beggars in the country. Now, if we have a look at the state-wise distribution of beggars population in the country, we clearly see that West Bengal tops the chart with more than 81,000 beggars, and it is followed by Uttar Pradesh having more than 65,000 beggars. Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan are the other states having majority of beggars population in the country. Now let's compare the recent data with Census 2011 data and see how the numbers have changed in the last decade. There has been a surge in the number of beggars in the last decade. According to Census 2011, there were around 3.7 lakh beggars in India, while currently this number is well above 4 lakh as per the data released by Union Ministry of Social Justice. There are also interesting numbers on India's beggar population based on religious orientation. We can see that Hindus constitute a majority of beggars population. This is because they constitute almost 3/4 of the country's population. This pattern is almost the same for every other religion except for Muslims, who constitute about 25% of beggars population, while they only have 14.23% of India's total population. According to a conservative estimate, 3 lakh children across India are forced to beg, using everything from addiction to drugs to threats of violence and even actual beatings. The National Human Rights Commission reports that 40,000 children are abducted in India every year, and over 25% of whom remain even untraced. There is also a need to look at the literacy among the beggars. The Census 2011 data released by the government shows some of the shocking facts about the beggars community of India. According to the data, India has 3.7 lakh beggars, of whom 21% are literate, having passed senior secondary certificate exams and above. But they have chosen to beg as their degrees failed to land them an appropriate job. The census revealed that more than 3,000 of them have professional diplomas, and some of them are graduates and even postgraduates.
Okay, so as we know that for any social study, the perspective of common people is very essential, as people only form the society. Now, to take that into account, we did a survey in which we asked some of the common questions about the encounters with beggars. Now, we got 274 responses, and we are very grateful to the respondents who took their time and gave us their valuable experiences for our study. The first question was that if you find a beggar, then will you give him food, money, nothing, or depending on the situation and age group of the beggar, you will assess the situation. Now, most of the responses, that is 55% of the people, prefer to depend to that depending on the situation, they will assess whether to give the beggar something or not. Next comes 31% of the people who will give them food, and marginal percentage of people will give them nothing or money. The next question is that amongst the following communities that are displayed in the screen, which communities do people find more prevalent to be in the beggar community? The responses can be categorized into three segments. The first segment is compromises of women and children, which both have more than 50%. The responses say that people say that they find them as most prevalent. The second segment can be considered to be constituted of old people, homeless people, and handicapped people, who their percentage is between 25% and 31%, while the least percentage is of LGBTQ and transgender community. Next task for the survey takers was to analyze the situation of the last decade and tell in the scale of 1 to 10 whether the situation in terms of number of beggars has improved or deteriorated in their neighborhood. The responses quite follow the normal distribution, with most of the responses saying that indicating the are at 0.5, indicating stable. That means there was no increase in beggars and not decrease. So, and 32.4% people cumulatively think that it has deteriorated, while 43.8% people cumulatively think that the situation has improved in the last decade. Now, some of the there is also a popular opinion that there are some beggars who have other opportunities, but they then also prefer to beg because they find that more convenient. So we asked people that what do they feel, that how many genuine percentage of beggars are there, and the results are shocking, as only as 60% people think that less than 25% of the beggars are genuine, and this figure goes drastically down and down as we go from 25% to 100%. Now, the last question was that as seen in the Western countries, that they give unemployment allowances so as the poor people don't have to beg. So if the same was to be done in India, then whether the people think that it would eradicate begging or contribute to that, most of the responses said no with certainty, and 11.7 percentage only people said that they believe that it will help, and 40% of the people think that it might help or it may not. Now, some of the interesting findings that we found are the following: that among all the states, Delhi had the most mistrust in beggar community. We got 24 responses from Delhi, and out of those 14 chose the option that less than 25% of the beggars are genuine, and 7 others chose that less than 50% of the beggars are genuine. Jharkhand emerged as the state which saw the most improvement, as for the question of improvement out of the scale of 1 to 10. On an average, it got 6.33 score, and followed by Madhya Pradesh, which got a score of 6.25. The survey result has contradicted the stereotype that LGBTQ and transgender community are mostly beggars, with they constituting less than 1% of the beggar community as per the survey. The idea of success of unemployment allowance saw a decline in faith as the age group increased. That means that the younger people have more faith that the unemployment allowance can help as compared to the older people. Okay, that's it for the survey. Thank you.
So my first question is like, what is the begging condition in the United States? Like, how often do you come across a beggar, and how do people react to them? Do they donate or simply neglect them?
So, it is interesting that in the United States where we live, they don't like to use the word beggar per se. The word that they use to describe is called panhandlers. And panhandlers is basically defined as people who solicit or beg basically by extending their hands or by using some kind of a cup or container. So the beggars that we call in India really like to be called as panhandlers here. And of course, compared to India, whatever I have seen, and compared to those situations here, the situation here is nowhere close to how it is in India. We do occasionally come across panhandlers, and usually we will find them at either metro stations, subway stations, or sometimes kind of under a bridge or at a major cross section, trying to ask for some help. And I would say the reaction of the people is mixed. In general, I have seen a lot of people more responsive to the needs of the people than I have seen it in India, I guess.
Okay. So moving on to the next question. You have lived your lives both in India as well as United States. So what difference do you see in the actions taken by the government there and here in India?
Right. So of course, I am not an expert in politics and government rules and stuff, but from what little I know, here I know that in terms of the panhandlers, more than the federal government, the local governments make rules and regulation based on what the situation is in that particular region. So, for example, if you are in a very metropolitan place where there is more homelessness, there's more issues with panhandling, they actually have some laws where you need to get a license for panhandling or basically begging. There are places where they have made laws where people who drink or who use drugs, they cannot do panhandling. So accordingly, they have rules for places where you can panhandle and where you cannot. So the government does at different levels. So at one level, they have all these kinds of laws that they have made. Plus, for the panhandlers, there's a lot of facilities in terms of homeless shelters that they have created, and they help people out that way. There are food coupons that are provided to people under a certain poverty line and impoverished people. So there are definitely federal laws, and then along with that, there are some state and local laws that help govern the whole situation.
And the next question is a little bit personal. Like, uh, how do you sympathize or donate these panhandlers in the United States if you come across them?
Yeah, so that's definitely a very tricky situation because on a personal level, and because I belong to the healthcare sector, I do see a lot of these panhandlers sometimes coming into the hospitals with some or the other situation. Sometimes they'll just come in because they don't have a place to sleep that night, and sometimes they come because they are over drugged and things like that. So I have gotten a little insensitive to the whole general situation. It is difficult for me on a personal basis to donate if I don't know much about the situation. So sometimes we do have genuine cases that we see where somebody is there with a family and trying to play a piano or trying to say that they lost their job or something, and we know that they're truly in need, then I definitely on a personal level donate. But if I don't have an absolute trust factor that this person may definitely be a genuine panhandler, I try to avoid. So probably say that 90% of the times I just don't find that trust level where I can donate. but I do whatever I can when I know that somebody is in need.
Hi. So, what is the begging condition in your locality? Like, how do people generally react to them when they come across a beggar? Do they donate or simply neglect them?
Firstly, we don't normally see beggars around here because of where I live. I live in the outskirts of Ahmedabad, so yeah, we don't have any beggars sort of here. But when you move around the malls or when you stop at the traffic lights, when you move into the city, then we can see beggars there. And normally in my locality, there are one or two, yeah, I say group of 3 to 4 beggars around that one mall we have, and people just react normally. If they like to donate, then they donate, or else they donate some foods or ice cream to them, or they just buy anything they are selling, even if they don't have to use that thing.
Okay. So,
And
how
yeah, so
how do you think like the conditions of beggar has improved over the past years? Like, have they, like, we used to see more and more children into the begging, but what according to you is the situation today?
so previously in the past, the number of beggars were very large. Like if we stop at any of the traffic lights, we were seeing beggars. And now I think life is becoming easier. Like beggars are not more now; they are becoming less. And also people are considering their needs. Like if they are selling something, then we will buy it, and we will give food to them. And yeah, so that sort of thing, the change in mindset of society is prevailing now
Okay, so you
towards beggars.
think the society is changing their behavior in a positive manner towards the conditions of beggar?
Yeah, we can say that in a positive manner. And also, like um I have seen some people go out to the beggars and ask them to work at their home and else. So yeah, they are contributing towards making our society beggar free.
Nice. And on a personal level, do you donate to beggars, or what do you do generally?
Yeah, I sometimes donate and sometimes don't, according to who all are people around me. Like if I'm with my father, then my father doesn't allow me to donate to the beggars, because he thinks that there is a general notion around people that they have the community of beggars, they are doing business and behind the scenes and all that. So my father doesn't like to donate them. But when I'm alone, like I say, I sympathize with them and I give them some things, some food or some rupees.
Okay, now I will talk about how the government and lawmakers have approached to this problem and try to resolve it. First of all, I will discuss some of the laws that are written in order to suppress the begging activity in the country. The subject of destitution and beggary is not mentioned in the either central or state list. However, as per the entry 9 of the state list in the 7th schedule of the constitution, relief of the disabled and unemployable is the state subject. On the other hand, as per the entry 15 of the concurrent list, vagrancy is mentioned, which is the variation of beggary. Kidnapping or miming a minor for the purpose of begging is treated as an offense under the section 363A of IPC. Further, section 24 of the Juvenile Justice Act 2000 prohibits employment of juvenile or child for begging. Section 144 of the Indian Railway Act 1989 stipulates prohibition of hawking and begging. At present, 20 states and 2 union territories have either enacted their own anti-beggary legislation or adopted those enacted by the other states. The above mentioned anti-beggary laws are mostly based on the Bombay Prevention of Begging Act 1959, which criminalizes the act of begging, and any person found involved in it and can be arrested without warrant. Now let's talk about the active action and some of the programs that are run by government in order to eradicate this issue. To tackle the problem of beggary, the central and state governments have consistently been taking various initiatives. The State Society for Ultra Poor and Some Welfare, that is also known as Saksham, is running the Bhiksha Vritti Nivaran Yojana program to eradicate the habit of begging, wherein beggars will be offered to become entrepreneurs or publicity managers for government programs and schemes. The Bhikshavritti Nivaran Yojana is run by the Union Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment in 10 cities of the country. These 10 cities are Patna, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Lucknow, Indore, Nagpur, Hyderabad, and Bengaluru. Saksham is a part of Bihar Social Welfare Department and is the forefront of this project's implementation. The rehabilitation process gives a choice to the beggars to either return home to their families or stay at the government care institution. They can opt for the latter option to learn skills required for setting up a business or get trained as a salesperson.
The problem of begging is associated with the problem of poverty and unemployment, and it is a social problem of great magnitude as well as concern. According to studies, many beggars suffer from mental and physical illness. Begging in India has become a big racket in the country. In fact, there are begging cartels in the big cities. It is very difficult to find out who is a real beggar and who is not because looks are very deceptive. Many gangs use babies and children and drug them to look sick to give credibility to begging. The children themselves get a paltry share and go hungry, resulting in malnutrition. So these were few main problems that are associated with begging. Now following is an interview conducted on a helpless girl by the channel Trend Minati.
और वो जो कई बार मैंने देखा है गाड़ियाँ आती हैं उनका क्या?
वो बच्चों को पकड़ने के लिए आते हैं। बहुत बच्चे गायब हो गए।
वो बच्चे गायब हो गए हैं। आपको पता है कोई बच्चा आपका दोस्त या कोई जो गायब हुआ है?
यहाँ से एक लड़का गायब हुआ है।
आपका दोस्त?
हाँ, वो सो बाजार में ही रहता है।
मिला उसके बाद कभी फिर?
नहीं मिला।
उसका नाम क्या था?
उसका नाम शाहिद।
कितने दिन हो गए बेटा?
बहुत दिन हो गए।
और ऐसे ही, और वो गाड़ी कैसी दिखती है, कोई आइडिया है आपको?
है वो गाड़ी टैक्सी होते हैं, पीले रंग का रहता है, उसमें बच्चे छापे हुए रहते हैं, वो ही पकड़ने के लिए आते हैं।
अच्छा मुझे ये बताओ, वो जो गाड़ियाँ हैं आपने कभी देखी तो आपने भी होगी, तो आप क्या करती हो जब वो गाड़ी आ जाती है?
हम तो चले जाते हैं घर पे।
बट वो जबरदस्ती ले जाएंगे तो?
वो जबरदस्ती ले जाएंगे तो हम क्या करेंगे? हमारे पास कोई आइडिया नहीं है जब वो जबरदस्ती ले जाएंगे।
आप कितना कमा लेते हो पूरे दिन में?
100-200 ऐसे।
और वो पैसे से किसको देते हो ले जाके?
हम लगते हैं और आधे मम्मी को देते हैं, आधे हम रख लेते हैं।